Well, for a look at today's newspapers, we're joined by Radio Australia's Phil Kafcaloudes. Good morning.
Good morning to you. I'm feeling just a little bit sleepy today. I went to see a preview of the new Bond film last night, Skyfall.
It's fantastic, apparently.
It is really good. It's like a worthy successor of Casino Royale, which was a terrific film. And then we had Quantum of Solace, which was all action and no acting. This time, acting plus. Ralph Fiennes, Albert Finney. It is a terrific film. Judi Dench
Javier Bardem
does her best, and Javier is magnificent. In fact, there's a little bit of Hitchcock in this film. When he makes his entrance, it's the longest, slowest shot ever in a Bond film. And the dialogue between him and Daniel Craig is magnificent.
So how's it end? Don't answer that question.
It's a great ending. It's the best ending since On Her Majesty's Secret Service, when Diana Rigg bought it in that one. In this case, I won't tell you what happens, but it's a great ending. Truly good.
Okay, let's take a look at the papers. You want to start with the front page of The Australian and this photograph as well of Aung San Suu Kyi and Barack Obama.
Well, this is Barack Obama visiting Burma. He's not the first leader to do so, first international leader. We've had Julia Gillard visiting, we've had David Cameron visiting, now we've had Barack Obama visiting. And he's promised $170 million to help rebuild Burma. And there he is, with his arm around Aung San Suu Kyi. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but does she look slightly uncomfortable in that shot? I mean, you get a lot of advice about when you travel, and you know we've all done a bit of travelling and working in Asia. We're told, you know, be careful who you touch. But anyway, so there he is. He's got his arm around it, and
happily startled, I think, is probably the
it
best
could
way
well
of describing
be.
it.
But if we have a look at this next shot, and this is a shot that's in the Herald Sun page too, when he does the kiss. Now again, she's sort of got a touch of the, I don't know, a little bit. Yes, okay, thanks very much.
Let's keep it to air kisses.
And yeah, that's right. And Barack Obama at that moment, look on his face. I think I might be reading too much into this, but he's going, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done this. You know, perhaps, I don't know.
Fantastic photographs, nonetheless.
Yeah, they are, indeed. So, Aung San Suu Kyi and Barack Obama, so he is the next major leader to be going to Burma, and it's a great thing for the Burma government. Obviously, the reform process, they're hoping will continue. They're getting another $170 million.
Those impromptu photos do show, and in another way you could look at it, is they're so comfortable with each other's company that protocols, you know, he wouldn't go anywhere without diplomatic protocols being followed, and nor would Aung San Suu Kyi. The fact that you know, they were that impromptu embrace and the impromptu kiss or air kiss, however you describe it, does show just the depth of their friendship. Of course, Aung San Suu Kyi was fairly recently over in Washington meeting Barack Obama. It's not the first time they've come together. A very strong meeting of minds.
I think the moving pictures are less awkward.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So they've just chosen that frame to make it, you know, okay, oops, Barack. But anyway, then he went on. He's on now in Cambodia for the East Asia Summit. This is Barack Obama. And one thing that will be discussed, as far as Australia is concerned, is a deal between Australia and Indonesia to send unskilled Indonesian workers to Australia, Indonesian workers who don't speak English. Now, this story is covered in the Financial Review, and you could imagine that there would be perhaps some reaction to this about whether it is such a good idea to do this. You know, why are we bringing Indonesian people over here? Well, I'd imagine that these are the sort of jobs, and Australia is still relatively near full employment, but these are the sort of jobs that they just can't find people to do, especially in country areas, seasonal workers perhaps. They will have to be, you know, when you ask the question perhaps, bringing people over who are unskilled and don't speak English, this, you know, how is this going to happen? But they will be supervised. They'll have to have somebody who does speak English with them to work with them.
So is this a different worker scheme to, say, the 457 visas?
Yes, you would think so. It's something that hasn't yet been negotiated. It will be negotiated at the East Asia Summit. That's what the Trade Minister, Craig Emerson, is working on now.
Let's go to the Herald Sun, which is reporting on a rather interesting media damages case being played out in a Melbourne courtroom. You
know, 10 years ago, I did a Churchill Fellowship about trauma, grief and trauma, and one of the things, in fact, 10 years ago now, I was in Oxford talking about this. One of the things that came out of it is that I said that it will be a matter of time before journalists start to sue media organisations for grief and trauma, not being trained, not being prepared. And that's what this story is about. This journalist photographer, age photographer, alleges that she was not given proper training to deal with what she had to go through. She went to Bali 1 year after the Bali bombings. This was in 2003. She had to deal with families of victims, talked to them. She spoke to 20 people. She says what she did traumatised her. What she heard traumatised her so much, and the age did not prepare her for that. And she says that they failed to provide a safe environment, which is the old line that people use in a case like this.
Has the age got a chance to respond yet in court?
It's in court, no. As far as we know, she has just started. She has made her allegations. We'll see what the age has to say.
See what the age has to say to defend itself. But, you know, I agree with you. It is a potentially fertile field there.
Yeah, and once it starts, anything could happen. We know that there was a former journalist of ours who worked in Southeast Asia who was caught for having drugs. He said that he had drugs because it was the only way he could cope with what he'd seen, and it was Peter Lloyd, and he admits that if he didn't go into jail, then he would have probably have died. So, you know, there will be cases like that, and it's sometimes a very, very difficult job to do.
Is the $1 million figure too high, too low? How do you put a price on it?
How do you do it? And it's up to the court. If it goes to a jury, then it will be up to a jury. And I've seen juries award ridiculously high amounts. Yeah, so we don't know.
Yeah, okay. We'll watch with interest. Let's finish with the age.
Oh, this is
Phantom Robots.
This is a fantastic story. This is the VCE, which is the school leaving certificate in Victoria, and there was a history question, and the history question was to do with a rebellion in Russia, and they put this this drawing in the question, the history question, and people were asked to deal with it, to, you know, what is going on here, to interpret what is going on there. And that's all fine, and people were answering, the kids were answering the question, except on the very left side there you see there is a robot. And it's been highlighted there. Now, this robot has been said it's rather like a Battletech Marauder. Now, do either of you guys know what a Battletech Marauder is?
Yeah, they're so 2011.
They're okay. Well, what happened, whoever the teacher was, whoever the exam setter was, went to the internet and got this picture and thought probably that was a statue on the left side, but it's not. It's a battle bloody whatever Marauder. And so the kids were trying to, I sound so old, don't I? But the high school students were trying to interpret what was really going on there. They were trying, and some of them got into postmodern discussions about the meaning and depth of this robot in the middle of this Russian Revolution. And so
that is priceless.
Isn't that fantastic? So that's what happens when you go into exams. It's your nightmare. It's your nightmare.
I think we can show you the original now.
That's your...
Oops. Double oops.
Minus the Battletech Marauder.
That's right, absolutely.
And there's the robot.
It is. Isn't that sensational? So next time you go into an exam, be scared, be very scared.
I love that one student was scratching her head thinking that she hadn't studied hard enough.
It is a nightmare. Good story. Good story. I love it.
And now, Phil, you were a former resident of Sydney. In fact, we started working in Sydney too many years ago, we want to mention. Try this on for size. A floating heliport on Sydney Harbour is being floated by the New South Wales government as a way of attracting high-profile visitors to Sydney Harbour. There you see, and it's a fair dinkum proposal being put up by the O'Farrell government. It'll be home to that new floating heliport next month in a bid to attract what the government is describing as high net worth visitors, Karina. And as you see there, it's going to be, hopefully the government expects another icon there sitting right next to both the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge.
They say they want it to be like the bridge climb, a new signature experience that will allow people to see Sydney with a bird's eye view. And this is an artist's impression that the government's released just this morning.
What do you reckon, Phil?
It looks just like a boat.
It does.
You know, a boat.
A luxury boat.
Who cares? You know, it's not going to make that much difference. They had a floating heliport in Pyrmont.
Yeah.
Pyrmont Bay.
What's wrong with heliports? I mean, they've got heliports on wharves.
Except if you're living in a beautiful area, Kirribilli, and you know, and it's right, and it looks like it's going to be right near where the Governor General and the Prime Minister live. So they wouldn't be happy about having the noise, would they?
Prime Minister's helicopter, if she had one, would land there.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, right.
Phil, thanks very much.
See ya.